Hello, everyone. Welcome to Life in Balance. I am reviewing The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, a book that has greatly impacted my mindset. Often we find ourselves trapped by overthinking, swamped by our past, or anxious about the future. In this video, I'll discuss key concepts, share my lessons, and showcase how I apply them. Stick around to understand the present moment more fully. Let's begin. Before we dive into the key lessons, let me introduce the author and the central premise of the book. The Power of Now was written by Eckhart Tolle, who had a profound spiritual awakening after struggling with depression and deep inner turmoil. He wrote this book to share the insights he gained during that transformative experience. At its core, the book encourages us to live fully in the present moment, free from the mental chatter of the past and future. Tolle argues that most human suffering comes from our attachment to thoughts, whether they're about past regrets or future anxieties. By focusing on the present, we can find true peace. The idea might sound simple at first, but Tolle goes deep into how we can train our minds to live in the now. And trust me, it's not just about meditation or mindfulness. It's a way of living, of breaking free from mental patterns that limit us. Key concept number 1. The mind is a tool, not a master. Tolle says that our mind in itself is not the problem. It's the fact that we identify with it. He describes the voice in your head, that constant inner monologue that tells you what to think and how to feel. Most of us are so attached to this voice that we forget we are not our thoughts. For example, I used to be a major overthinker. Every time I had a decision to make, whether it was work-related or personal, I would get stuck in a loop of, what if this happens? Or, what if I make the wrong choice? It became exhausting. The voice would feed me doubts and worries, even when I didn't need them. But here's where Tolle's advice comes in. He teaches us to observe these thoughts without judgment. You don't have to fight them or make them go away. Just acknowledge them and let them pass. I'll give you an example from my own life. As a single mom, there are so many things I juggle. One evening, I was feeling overwhelmed with work deadlines, managing my clients' social media channels, and ensuring my son was taken care of. Instead of spiraling into that overwhelming mental noise, I paused. I simply focused on the sensations in my body, the feeling of my feet on the ground and my breath entering and leaving my lungs. I didn't try to push away the stress or the thoughts. I just acknowledged them, and suddenly, the pressure started to fade. I realized I didn't need to let those thoughts control me. I had the power to choose how I responded. Key concept number 2, the pain body. Another critical concept Tolle talks about is the pain body. It's the emotional pain we carry from past experiences, often without even realizing it. This pain accumulates over time, and when triggered, it influences our reactions. The pain body can make us react in ways that don't reflect the current moment, but are instead based on unresolved emotional scars. I had an experience where I was criticized by someone about my parenting style. Normally, this would trigger a defensive reaction in me, but after reading The Power of Now, I was able to step back. Instead of reacting from my pain body, I became curious about why I felt defensive. What unresolved emotions was I carrying? It made me realize that the criticism wasn't about me. It was about how I still held on to feelings of inadequacy from my past. Tolle explains that we don't have to let the pain body control us. Through awareness and presence, we can break free from it. The next time I was criticized, I observed the reaction, but instead of letting it control me, I sat with the feeling, acknowledged it, and then let it pass. This approach helped me respond calmly and with more understanding. Key concept number 3, accessing the present moment. One of Tolle's most profound messages is the power of the present moment. He teaches that the past and future are mental constructs that only exist in our minds. The present is the only moment that truly matters. I'll be honest, this was hard for me to grasp at first. As someone who juggles multiple jobs and responsibilities, I always felt like I had to plan ahead. always thinking of what's next. But after embracing Tolle's teachings, I started practicing mindfulness and bringing myself back to the present moment, especially when life got overwhelming. Here's a real-life example. There was a day when I was feeling stressed about work and bills, and my mind kept racing. But I remembered Tolle's words, so I took a few minutes to breathe deeply and notice my surroundings. I looked at the trees outside, the sunlight coming through the window, and the sound of my son playing in the next room. Just being present in those moments helped me reset my mindset and approach the day with more clarity and peace. Now, when I feel the stress building up, I use grounding techniques like focusing on my breath or doing a quick body scan to center myself. These moments of mindfulness don't just make me more productive, they help me be more connected to the world around me. Key concept number 4: acceptance and letting go. Acceptance is a huge theme in The Power of Now. Tolle teaches that accepting the present moment, no matter how it looks, is the key to peace. He says that suffering comes from resisting reality and wishing things were different. I know this lesson all too well. As a single mom, there have been countless times when I've wished my circumstances were different, wished I had more time or more money or less stress. But every time I've resisted reality, it's made things worse. One specific example comes to mind. A few months ago, I was going through a financial struggle. I had a lot of bills piling up, and I couldn't pay them on time. Normally, I would have gone into a state of panic and overwhelm. But after practicing mindfulness, I tried something different. I accepted the situation as it was. I told myself, this is where I am right now, and that's okay. That acceptance gave me the mental space to figure out a plan to manage the bills, rather than spiraling in fear. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It's about freeing yourself from the unnecessary suffering caused by resistance. Once you accept the moment, you can move forward with more clarity and peace. Now, let's dive into the personal lessons I've learned from applying Tolle's ideas to my own life. These teachings have been a game changer for me. Lesson number 1: overcoming overthinking. As someone who used to overanalyze everything, learning to let go of constant mental chatter was one of the biggest shifts I experienced. I remember sitting at my desk, trying to work, but my mind would race from one thought to the next. Tolle's idea of observing my thoughts instead of identifying with them helped me break this cycle. Now, when I catch myself overthinking, I pause, breathe, and simply observe the thoughts. It helps me step back and focus on the present moment, instead of getting lost in a sea of worries. Lesson number 2: better relationships. Since I've embraced living in the present, I've become a much better listener in my relationships. In the past, I would often be thinking about what I was going to say next, instead of truly listening. But now, I focus on being fully present with the people I care about. It's made a huge difference in how I connect with others, especially my son. When I'm truly present with him, I notice more about his needs, and he responds so much better to my guidance. Lesson number 3: letting go of control. Living in the present has taught me to let go of the need to control everything. As a mom who works multiple jobs, I often want to micromanage every aspect of my life. But Tolle's concept of surrendering to what is has given me the freedom to trust that things will work out as they should, even if I don't have all the answers right now. While I love this book, I'll admit that some parts may feel repetitive or overly abstract, especially for someone new to mindfulness. But if you stick with it, you'll find immense value. It's one of those books that requires reflection and practice, and the lessons become clearer the more you apply them. Overall, The Power of Now isn't just a book. It's a guide to living a more peaceful and fulfilling life. The ideas in this book have brought me more peace and presence, and I think they could do the same for you. To wrap up, I highly recommend The Power of Now. To anyone who wants to break free from the cycle of overthinking and live a more present, meaningful life, it's not about escaping your responsibilities or ignoring your past. It's about living fully in the present and freeing yourself from unnecessary suffering. If you've read the book, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What's your favorite takeaway from it? Or, if you haven't read it yet, what's holding you back? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share this review with someone who might need a little reminder to live in the now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay present and take care.